Hello everyone and welcome back to Sudden Wealth. I hope you guys are doing very well. If you do enjoy the content, please consider dropping that like and subscribe. As you guys know, it greatly helps the channel. So, let's go a little bit with the data that came out on Friday. So inflation data, the favorite measure by the Fed, came better than expected. Inflation, according to their own metrics, is now at 2.1%. So basically pretty much at the 2% target that they had. So now what's the excuse? There's no excuse. The Fed is political. That's it. It's always been. It will always be. Not just for the Democrats, by the way. Also, if you listen to Bernanke's, he was interviewed after he left the Fed about basically the financial crisis, and he was asked, "How could you say? How did the Fed miss it? How did they think? How did you think that? First of all, how couldn't you see the crisis? Number two, how did you think it was contained to subprime?" And Bernanke said, "Yeah, we had to say that. We were part of the administration." What? I thought you were supposed to, and this was the Bush administration, so the Republicans, not the Democrats. So what? I thought you were independent. No, they aren't. They've never been, they never will. So we can take that out of the way. The point is, a lot of economists are now eating crow. So apparently, where is all this massive inflation that all of them was expecting? Now, if you followed this simple channel with a random guy wearing a hoodie and a mask, he was telling you that a lot of things move into the tariffs, move into prices, and tariffs is a small percentage. Nobody was paying attention to the collapsing commodity prices that affect every single little industry, not just in the US, but on the planet, that was telling you, hey, we don't even know exactly what tariffs will be implemented, how much, and how long will they last. Did you hear that? Yes, here as well. So where are all the experts and economists? Personal consumption went up 0.8% versus 0.3% expected. In terms of inflation numbers, I think this is the third or fourth month in a row. I think the third month in a row in which inflation comes lower than expected. Where is all the drama about the bond market, about the yields? I've mentioned here before, I don't think the bond market will be the black swan. For the very simple reason that for weeks I couldn't go on Twitter without 1,000 posts about the bond market by people who never talk about the bond market. That's not how it happens. So if you ask me, okay, which black swans do you see right now? I tell you, Taiwan and Iran. Two things that nobody talks about, really seriously. It's completely disregarded. So those to me are much more like, I'm not predicting a crash. I'm saying if it happens, I would see it much more coming from there than from something that everyone is looking at. That's not how it happens. It happens on things that nobody's paying attention. Real estate, tech stocks, 2000, right? Stocks in general, 1929. Those are the big things. Not, hey guys, look at that. That's a problem. Let's all look at them and predict at the same time a massive crash because of that one single reason. And somehow the entire market is all gonna get caught by surprise. Yeah, no, I don't think so. I don't think that's how it happens. I think there's a very good chance, I've told you this in the previous video, that yields have topped. There's a very, very good chance of it. And probably we're gonna look at that Moody's downgrade as the capitulation bottom. I think there's a very good chance. Now, Blackrock is back to buying large amounts of Ethereum. In fact, was even selling some Bitcoin. Now, Blackrock, if it was a country, it would be by GDP. So basically, let's say GDP is assets under management for Blackrock. Blackrock would be the third largest country after the US and China. They've been positioning very aggressively for Ethereum. Now, As I've mentioned here before, there was periods in 2023 where the price of Bitcoin was heavily subdued through long amounts of time. Then we found out that all of a sudden, during those time periods, Blackrock and the likes were accumulating Bitcoin for the ETFs like crazy, basically. I think staking ETFs, which, by the way, Wall Street will love because that's close to a dividend, plus tokenization is far closer than people think. And I think the prices will eventually go up very, very quickly. Now, there's a good thing that is happening, which is we are back to influencers predicting a double top, just like 2021, saying that 111,000 for Bitcoin was the top. That's it. It's over. And they are now predicting again Bitcoin 50K, Bitcoin 30K, Bitcoin 65K. We are back to the same thing. Now, that's good. People get mad in the comments section. Don't get mad. That's good. By the time that all the influencers are trying to convince you how Bitcoin is going to double in 2 weeks from 500,000 to 1 million, for example, I'm just throwing a number, okay? That's when you should be concerned, because that means they are heavily getting out. They're trying to convince you desperately to get in. So that's the mindset behind it. When they're fearful like this, they're not. They are still out. And here is the funny thing, because we've talked about this many, many times in the channel, but I will tell you this again. When Bitcoin, in the recent correction, Bitcoin went to 74K, right? A 30% correction. What did we see now? A 5-10% correction after a Bitcoin conference. Oh my God, when does that ever happen? I don't know, 5 times? It's something that happens all the time, but still people, there's nothing you can say. They'll never learn. When we were at 74, 78K, going to 90K was very, very bullish. Going to 100K was extremely bullish. And I said during that time that we were ramping up, I made a video, 1 or 2 videos, and I said, be ready for the time that we drop from the all-time highs to 105K. And that's going to feel, and people are going to behave very bearish, in a very bearish fashion. Now, it looked like a complete, I sounded like a complete lunatic, because we would be excited if Bitcoin got to 85K, let alone 105. But I said, wait for it. I'll tell you something different today, again, because I also said this before. It's my conviction that in the not so distant future, people will feel bearish as Bitcoin drops to 130K, even potentially 150K. People, so if I told you we're going to go to 150K today, this would be, oh my God, what a bullish sentiment. Oh my God, this is crazy, right? I'm telling you, there's going to be a time in which falling to 150K will feel bearish. And I hope you remember this video when that time comes to pass. Now, I have to disclose something, because I mean, this is just factual, just look at the chart. We have a couple of CME gaps in the Bitcoin chart. I think, don't quote me here, but some like 94, 95K, and I think there's another one at 91, 92. Are they going to fill? Look, historically speaking, there's a good chance they may fill. Will they fill in the bear market, or will they fill in the next week or two? Who knows? Maybe in one of these Black Swan events that I was talking about. Maybe that happens, unfortunately, and we can go and close those gaps. Not impossible, can really happen. The question is, if those Black Swan events happen, what is the solution? So let's play this out. Let's say the bond market, let's say everybody's right, as meaning the consensus is right, and bonds are going through the complete crapper, complete shitter, right? and yields are just going to spike. What will that cause? Well, who are going to be the first ones to go belly up? Financial institutions, banks, pension funds, insurance companies, those are the first to go. How do you prevent that from happening? You print money. That's it. When you print money, what happens to your crypto? It goes up. Okay, fine. What else? Let's say one of the bad things happens in Iran and Taiwan. What do they do to fight those conflicts? They print money. Deficit spending. More money spent. More currency units following the same assets. So what is the end game? Asset prices go up, namely crypto. Oh, but it can go down in 3 weeks. Sure. And one thing I know, my cash goes down in value every single year. That I'm guaranteed to happen. Money supply plus CPI, you're talking about 10, 13% per year goes down, my money in value, my cash. So until the world, the way it works changes, to me, this is how I view the best position to be. Now you tell me, oh, but on these specific days, you could have outperformed by holding this. And you could outperform by holding this during these 3 weeks. And you could, sure. If I only buy the bottoms and sell the tops, I will outperform myself. Question is, how likely it is for you to do it on a consistent basis? Very unlikely. I know a lot of billionaire investors. I know very few billionaire traders. Think about it. Maybe ever wondered why? Because the market will catch you no matter how good you think you are and how close to Warren Buffett or whoever you think you are. It will catch you and it will hunt you. And some people in the crypto space have found out very recently what hunting down leverage positions really mean. Now, I'm not insulting the guy. I actually feel bad for him because I don't enjoy seeing a fellow, you want to call it colleague in the space, getting annihilated. But the triple L's. How do you screw somebody? Ladies, liquor, leverage. Every single time. So, I think he's going to rebound well. I think he's going to do well at the end of the day. But just as a point of note, even someone very successful that took a very low percentage of I think 2 or 3 millions and ramped it up to 100 million, even him struggled or got a little bit down on his positions with his leverage positions. So what I'm trying to say is that the market will always find a way, fairly or unfairly, up for debate. I'll leave that up to you, but it will find a way to catch you. So just keep that in mind. So to me, it's all about conviction, investment, thesis, follow through, and don't abandon my positions depending on the color of the charts, like Crypto Banter. Now, hates Ethereum, is in favor of Ethereum. Next video. Today is posting things about how bad Ethereum is. So this is just following whatever the price is saying. See, I can tell you if Ethereum goes to 10,000, he's been the biggest fan of Ethereum of all time. Now, it's a good way to finish this video, which is how do the altcoins and Ethereum in particular move? So Bitcoin moves with global M2, which when were people talking about in the recent correction to 74K, when people were saying, oh, this is a Trump-induced tariff bear market, or there's a 50% chance that this is a bear market, or people predicting Bitcoin 30K, or people predicting whatever, I was here telling, we are following global M2. Now, we have a delay of about 100, 110 days. Global M2 has been exploding to new all-time highs. But the Bitcoin price is still here. We're going to track it to new all-time highs again. What did we do? We track it to new all-time highs again. But I didn't say it when Bitcoin was 105K. I said it when Bitcoin was 74K. Very big difference. When the sentiment was where coin market cap, the fear and greed index was at extreme fear at like 15 or 13. I think the lowest number I've ever seen. When the stock fear index in the fear and greed index was at 3. I think lower than the GFC. That's when it's hard to say. When it's already going up, sure, it's going to. Oh, it's a global M2. No, but you have to be convinced that it's a global M2 when the price is coming down. When the price is at all-time low. You have to come here and say, hey, by the way, guys, stocks and crypto will hit the bottom next Monday to Wednesday. And you have a double bottom, one on Monday, one on Wednesday. That's the hard part. The easy part is to say, oh, Bitcoin's going to hit a new all-time high when it's at 106,000. Yeah, that's easy. Very easy. It takes very little effort to do that. Now, Ethereum and the altcoins, your friend Tommy covers this very well, follows more the business cycle. Next week, ISM Manufacturing is coming out. Above 50, good. Below 50, bad. If it's below 50, how much? Is it 49.5 or is it 46? See what I mean? So it depends quite a bit. But I think there's a good chance it's going to be, if not above 50, very close. Next week, Tuesday, I think it comes out. Now, the altcoins move better with the business cycle. So it's not just liquidity. Yes, liquidity conditions need to be favorable. That's all true. But you also need the business, people like you and me, to be doing better so things can go up. There are still very variables on things that can go wrong. Tariffs can escalate. The black swans, the potential black swans that I talked about. The potential filling of the CME gaps that I've talked about. So a lot of things can go wrong. That's all part of the journey. In my view, I look at that global liquidity together with the business cycle, and I play the odds. If it's time to get out, if it's not time to get out. Now, but it's up to you to decide. But I do like to see the influencers back to the 50, 30K Bitcoin predictions. That's very good. Let's keep them that way. By the time that everybody's in entire agreement that crypto will never have a bear market again because country A will not allow it, because Trump will not allow it, because that person will not allow it, because that pension fund will not allow it. And that's why we're never going to have a bear market because A, B, C, and D, and E. Right? We need that. We need, when we see people making those kind of arguments, now you know that it's probably time to get out. Fun fact, because I think some people mentioned this, but it indeed looks very similar. People remember the 90s as the big boom in stocks, which is true, particularly tech stocks, between 95 and 2000, right? Well, people forget, 95 and 2000 was a complete ramp up in the stock market. It's quite amazing. But in 98, there was a nasty, very quick, short-term correction that is moving exactly as the correction of today. So if you basically overlap the chart of 98 and 2025, they look very, very similar. So people are extrapolating that 2025 is like 98, so 2026 and 2027 is going to be massive years. So basically 2026 is going to be, so the second half of 2025 and 2026 are going to be amazing years for crypto and tech stocks. And then 2027 would be the top, like March 2000 style. Maybe, guys, maybe. Who knows? This is why I like to check, okay, what is global M2 doing? I know that once that liquidity starts coming down, I know that there's a correction is coming over the next 3 months. What's going to cause it? Is it going to be a tweet? Is it going to be one of these black swans? Who knows? I don't know what's going to be. But we are in for a pull down. And the financial conditions that I'm talking about, I look at 3 very particular ones. Yields, up or down. Dollar, Dixie, up or down. Oil prices, up or down. If yields up, dollar up, oil up, these are all tightening of financial conditions. If the reverse, then this is loosening of financial conditions. Looking at global M2 for the direction of Bitcoin, looking at the business cycle, the ISMs, the inflation, the GDPs for the Ethereum and altcoins. That's it. That's what I look at. Keep it simple. I don't have time. Oh, what about this connection between the third moon of August and the price of the price of wood, the price of timber, right? With the connection, with the inverse connection of gold price. I mean, I don't have time for all those connections. Yes, if you look for all those little things over thousands of years, I promise you'll find some sort of weird connection between the shape of a lizard on a tree and the price of coal in Australia. Who knows? With that, thank you very much, guys. Enjoy your weekend. It has been a pleasure to be here with you. As you guys know, I only ask you one thing: like and subscribe, and leave a comment asking me something, telling that you like the video, or insulting me as being a complete clown. All of them are welcome. Thank you, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.